Hey, what's up, online community? And thanks for stopping by and checking out another segment of Straight No Chaser, where I talk sports and culture for fans, oftentimes with the fans. Now, I've been on a little bit of a hiatus for the past couple of weeks, which has allowed me to kind of regain my energy, but also, more importantly, catch up on some topics that are happening in the world of sports as well as in the world around us in general. Now, today I decided to go it alone. I had some people that wanted to join me, but I wanted to use this opportunity to really give my direct thoughts in terms of some of the things that's going on both in our country and also in the world of sports. But before we get into it, you know how we do. Grab your favorite libation. We're about to get into it. Straight No Chaser. So with that, we also have sports to talk about. So here in Chicago, excuse me, we have a new coach for the Chicago Bulls. Billy Donovan is now the new coach of the Chicago Bulls. Now, personally, Billy Donovan, I'm not as disappointed as many others. I think it's a good hire. I feel that he'll do a good job with the team that we had. He was on my top 5 list of candidates. People ask me, or have asked me, if I were the management of the Bulls, which coach would I like to see coaching? Which coach would I like to see coaching? Excuse me, as I'm looking at some of the comments. Which coach would I like to see coaching the Bulls? So my short list: Wes Unseld Jr. I also looked at Ime Udoka from the Philadelphia 76ers. He's an assistant. And a name that intrigues me, because I had an opportunity to meet her and have a conversation and just see how she moved and interacted and how people responded to her. In the 2000, carry the one, what year are we? 2020 sucks. 2019, I saw Becky Hammon interacting with players at Team USA, and I marveled at how she was able to captivate the attention of the players, and the respect that she garnered. So those are my 3 top candidates. Billy Donovan, he was in my top 5. I was also, Billy Donovan was number 4. And then Mark Jackson was number 5. So with that, I'm okay with Billy Donovan. I know he's not the sexy pick, but in listening to other teams and other players and other individuals talk about how his coaching style, how he's able to develop players, how he's able to develop relationships, I thought it was a good fit for the team that we had. Now, it's not the sexy pick. He's not the name pick. I, for one, am against retreads and players or coaches getting multiple chances, especially if they're not earned or deserved. But in this instance, Billy Donovan, I think we still haven't seen the best of Billy Donovan as a coach. We were starting to see some of it because when he first came into the NBA, he had Kevin Durant, he had Russell Westbrook and some other guys. And we're talking about, first of all, you've got 2 all-NBA level players right there. Russell Westbrook, we know he's got a strong personality on the court as well as off the court. And also with Kevin Durant, you kind of have to manage those egos. So you have to kind of tailor your personality, tailor your system to fit those type of players, in addition to the role players that he had and some other people that were some strong personalities that he had to navigate. As he started to shed some of those players, Kevin Durant leaves to go to Golden State. Russell Westbrook, he goes to Houston. You started to see a little bit more of Billy Donovan's persona take over the team with the Oklahoma City Thunder. You started to see him being able to, his ability to cultivate relationships, his player development components started to take place. You saw the continued development of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You saw him take, help Chris Paul take his game to the next level, because Chris Paul had been a predominantly pass-first point guard. Now you saw Chris Paul transition more to a score-first point guard while still getting his teammates involved, but really taking that next step. And I wish we'd seen that Chris Paul, the guy who was closing games out, the guy who was playing with attitude and aggressive. I wish we had seen that Chris Paul with the Clippers, because I honestly believe that the Clippers with Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, and the supporting cast they had around him at that time could have competed for a championship. But I say all that to say, and also another guy, Dennis Schrader, who was a cast-off from the Atlanta Hawks. So we've seen Billy Donovan been able to develop players in Oklahoma City. They were expected not even to compete for a playoff spot. They were expected to be in the lottery. And here it is, he had them in the Western Conference, which top to bottom is a more difficult conference than the East. I think the East is very top heavy, but in the Western Conference, Billy Donovan was able to get the Oklahoma City Thunder to a 5th seed and also compete, you know, at a high level. So kudos to Billy Donovan. I'm excited about what he brings. I saw Zach LaVine, you know, when Billy Donovan when he found out he was playing, I think, Call of Duty, he's playing something, which, by the way, I need to note to self. I got to look Zach LaVine up so I can get with him on PS. So, but with that, you know, Zach LaVine, in which, by the way, Zach LaVine is the Bulls' best player, the star player. So if your best player, your star player, is excited, is giving, you know, initial positive feedback. You know, Zach LaVine said, "Hey, good coach, guy can coach. Looking forward to it." You know, we got to give the guy a chance. Now, I know a lot of people want it, and again, Billy Donovan was in my top 5, not my top 3, but one of the guys that was in my top 5, and I want to have this conversation. So I'm hoping that, you know, we have a couple of the people that we're going to chime in with the comments. But all that being said, one of the guys that was in my top 5, and many people have been clamoring for a coaching position, is Mark Jackson. So let's talk about Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson is very polarizing when it comes to NBA head coaching openings amongst fans and such. Some fans want Mark Jackson. Some fans want no parts of Mark Jackson. I initially was on the side of I want no parts of Mark Jackson with my organization. I say my organization, like I put money on it, like I had some vested stake in the Bulls. But you know, I'm a fan. I'm a loyal Bulls fan, so I feel like there's a little bit of ownership from my fandom. You know, although I don't get a Bulls check. But with that, I do take ownership that that's my local team, that's my home team, and I support it. I personally feel that, you know, you get the conversation of Mark Jackson being blackballed. There were some things that Mark Jackson alleged to have said about someone within the Warriors organization, as well as some things that were alleged to have been done with respect to Mark Jackson's religion. These are all things that are researchable online. You can Google them. And with that, I don't know if I would want the head coach of a young team, an impressionable team, to come and be a part of some of those. I wouldn't want a coach to come in if these are some of the issues and if there's like quote baggage with Mark Jackson, which again, you know, a lot of these things, you know, Andre Iguodala has done an interview about some things that were alleged to have happened to go to state, other players, other news sources. So you can all Google these things on your own. I won't state them here, but I don't know if I want my head coach to come in with baggage per se, and be the leader of young impressionable men. I think for me, I want a coach that's going to come in that's only focused on basketball. That's only the thing that you've got to look forward to in the newspaper or in the press or media, things like that, are basketball related issues. I don't know if I want to have a coach that has some of these other periphery things allegedly surrounding him. So I want to make sure that these guys are locked in, because I don't know. I go back and forth in terms of my perception of how the Bulls organization has been run over the years. I know there's been people will say certain things in terms of how the Bulls are run. The Bulls, like any other organization, they're going to have their ups and their downs. But with that being said, it's a new day. Arturas Karnisovas, or Karnisovas, how you pronounce it. It seems as if this man has a vision. It seems as if this individual has a plan, has a good basketball grasp, knows the landscape of coaches, players, as well as scouting. So I'm going to give Arturas Karnisovas a couple years, because something like this, it takes a couple years to be able to turn the situation around. It doesn't happen overnight. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I like the Billy Donovan hire. I like his style. Also, with Billy Donovan, Russell Westbrook was an MVP. Russell Westbrook for 3 years averaged a triple-double. Under Billy Donovan, Chris Paul, I believe, has had his best year as a pro because he was able to combine his leadership, his passing, and his scoring. And also, we saw another level of play from Dennis Schrader. So players do get better under Billy Donovan. And he's shown that he's been able to be adaptable and flexible in his coaching style, because, you know, there were times where he would play 3-point guards this past season, where he had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chris Paul, and Dennis Schrader out there. And then in the past, he's played with a one-man gang where he's adapted the system and been flexible to build it around Russell Westbrook. So I just asked people of Chicago to give him a chance. He wasn't my first choice. He was number 4 on my list. I know many people are clamoring for Mark Jackson. I'm kind of lukewarm on Mark Jackson. I want my coach to be able to focus on basketball, not all this other ancillary stuff, especially when you're dealing with a young group of men that are impressionable. Mark, from what I hear, he's a good brother, but I also say this: all coaching positions aren't for all teams and all players. So some people are an acquired taste. I'm hoping that here in Chicago, we get Billy Donovan a chance, because I do think that he's a good coach, and I think he's going to get it done.